Angel. Damn. Jagged the game at the free throw line, man. It's a lot of controversy going on in Chicago. The Sky fans are blaming Tyler Marsh for Angel Reese losing the game at the free throw line and ruining the Chicago Sky's chances of really cutting the lead down to 1 and giving themselves a chance to keep playing and try to get an upset in Phoenix. Angel played a hell of a game, 15 points, 20 rebounds. We cannot poo-poo that.
Angel Reese just turned what should have been her shining moment into the kind of collapse fans will never forget. Standing at the free throw line with the game on the line, the crowd holding their breath, and then missing in a way that sent Chicago Sky supporters into absolute chaos, sparking a wildfire of blame, accusations, and conspiracy theories that spread faster than highlights on social media, with some pointing at Coach Tyler Marsh, others screaming about poor rotations, and many refusing to admit that Angel herself choked under pressure. And while her stat line of 15 points and 20 rebounds looks impressive on paper, that single collapse has completely overshadowed everything else, fueling the growing narrative that while Caitlin Clark is breaking records, selling out arenas, and redefining the league, Angel Reese is becoming known not for her dominance, but for her meltdowns and the excuses that follow, turning every game into a debate bigger than the score itself.
Angel Reese is at the bottom of the pick and roll shot attempts list, and it kind of makes sense if you really watch. So on her first game back from injury, somebody interviewed her and asked her, what do you think about Uzan joining the team? How's that change things? And she said, hopefully I'll get more pick and roll touches. Unfortunately, that just hasn't happened. And it's more so, in my opinion, that she's just not getting that play called for her. It's not something that the team is running. Pick and rolls for Angel is not happening. So there is a list. My guy Trendy put it out. I know a lot of people, Trendy is controversial, but Trendy does, you look at his stats, when he posts stats, they'd be right. And so he put out a list of the top pick and roll shot attempts for front court players, and Angel wasn't even anywhere.
Chicago Sky fans didn't just watch a loss, they watched a meltdown unfold in real time, and the backlash was instant, brutal, and loud. Because instead of seeing Angel Reese step up as the star everyone swears she is, they saw her collapse at the free throw line and hand the momentum to Phoenix. And now the fans aren't just upset, they're pointing fingers like it's a crime scene, with Coach Tyler Marsh becoming the main suspect, accused of mismanaging rotations, failing to call the right plays, and refusing to put Angel in better positions to succeed. But the truth is, no clipboard in the world can erase the fact that she had the ball in her hands and the chance to prove she was clutch, and she didn't deliver. And what makes it worse is that this isn't happening in a vacuum. It's happening under the brightest spotlight possible, with Caitlin Clark raising the bar every single night, making Angel's struggles look even bigger, and turning a single missed free throw into a debate about whether Reese is truly a franchise cornerstone or just the face of a never-ending excuse machine.
Choke the game away at the free throw line, and the fans are blaming Tyler Marsh. We got all the Sky fans crashing out. They crashing out blaming the coach because Angel Reese missed a free throw at the end of a game. Let's take a look at what's going on. We have Chicago Sky fans blaming Tyler Marsh.
The funniest part is how quickly the meltdown turned into a full-blown investigation, because the moment Angel Reese bricked those free throws, fans weren't just disappointed, they were out there creating theories, excuses, and storylines like it was a Netflix documentary, with some swearing the coaching staff sabotaged her, others saying the team refuses to run plays for her, and a few even insisting the refs had it out for Chicago from the start. But none of that changes the box score. None of that changes the fact that when it mattered most, she didn't deliver. And while social media was busy cooking up wild takes about conspiracy plots and secret agendas, the reality is much simpler. Caitlin Clark doesn't need excuses because her game speaks for itself. Her highlights go viral for all the right reasons. Her performances are dragging ratings out of the basement. And when you compare that to Angel's free throw disaster, the difference couldn't be clearer. One player thrives in the clutch while the other gets swallowed by the moment. And no amount of finger pointing can change what every fan watching already saw with their own eyes.
Angel Reese has made her triumphant return from a back injury. That's right, a back injury. Yeah, absolutely. That she had suffered at some point that we don't exactly know at what point she suffered said back injury. Well, it didn't take long for the Chicago Sky as an organization to get back to what it is they do best, which is the diabolical celebration of Angel Reese's double-doubles in lawsuit.
What makes this even more brutal for Angel Reese is that this isn't just about one bad night, it's about a pattern fans are starting to notice. Because when you dig into the numbers, she's at the bottom of the pick and roll shot attempts list. And that's shocking for someone who calls herself the future of the league. And instead of proving critics wrong, her supporters are doubling down, saying it's all the coach's fault for not designing the offense around her. But let's keep it real. The opportunities have been there. The ball has been in her hands. And if she wanted to create, she could. Yet the highlight everyone remembers isn't a clutch bucket, it's a free throw miss that flipped the game. And while Chicago fans are busy blaming rotations, play calling, and everything under the sun, Caitlin Clark is out there turning every possession into a viral moment, rewriting the record books while Angel is stuck being the headline for meltdowns. And that's the painful truth. Sky fans don't want to admit, because when your star's biggest moment becomes a blooper, the conversation shifts from potential to reality. And right now, the reality isn't looking good. And the collapse didn't just stop at the free throw line, because the ripple effect that followed was pure chaos. With Chicago Sky fans practically rioting online, roasting the coach, questioning the entire game plan, and even rewriting history in real time to protect Angel Reese from criticism, because instead of admitting she folded under pressure, the narrative became that Tyler Marsh failed her, that the system failed her, that everyone except Angel Reese was responsible for the loss. But here's the problem with that storyline. Angel had the ball. Angel had the chance. And Angel came up short, yet the excuses came flying in anyway. As if the coach personally tied her shoelaces together and whispered sabotage before she stepped to the line. And while Sky fans are tying themselves in knots inventing conspiracy theories, Caitlin Clark is casually knocking down logo threes, selling out arenas, and turning her teammates into household names. And that comparison is impossible to ignore, because every time Reese's supporters build another wall of excuses around her, Clark is tearing down walls and building her own empire in real time, and the contrast couldn't be clearer. One player is changing the league, the other is changing the conversation for all the wrong reasons. By the time the dust settled, the conversation wasn't even about the game anymore, it was about Angel Reese's entire legacy. Because fans realized this wasn't an isolated choke, it was part of a bigger pattern, and the stat that really exposes it is brutal. The Chicago Sky are well below .500-inch games where Reese records a double-double, meaning that even when she stuffs the stat sheet, it rarely translates into wins. And instead of asking why that is, her fan base celebrates the numbers like participation trophies, bragging about rebounds and points while ignoring the scoreboard, and it's embarrassing. Because while they're throwing parties for empty double-doubles, Caitlin Clark is out there delivering real results, real victories, and real history-making performances. And the split screen couldn't be more obvious. On one side, Clark is dominating every highlight reel, shattering attendance records, and raising the WNBA's profile, while on the other side, Reese is racking up stats that mean nothing in the standings, and then watching her own fans scramble to create excuses. And that's when the truth hits hardest, because numbers without wins are meaningless, highlights without victories are hollow, and no matter how hard her supporters spin it, Angel Reese isn't proving she can carry a team. She's proving she still has a lot to learn. And of course, when the stats don't back her up, when the losses pile up, and when the excuses start to sound recycled, the conversation always shifts to fake numbers, because suddenly, Sky fans want you to believe Angel Reese is boosting viewership to Super Bowl levels, as if her games are breaking national records. But once you look closer, it's nothing but smoke and mirrors, because half those numbers are padded with social media clips, giveaway tickets, and streams counted multiple times. And while her fan base is inflating stats like balloons at a birthday party, Caitlin Clark doesn't need to spin anything. Her impact is real. ESPN's numbers spike whenever she plays. Arenas relocate just to fit the demand. and tickets sell out days in advance, all without a single fan inventing fantasy metrics. And that's the difference. One star has to rely on smoke and excuses to stay in the conversation. The other is changing the entire direction of the league with tangible results. So, while Angel's collapse at the free throw line is being defended with conspiracy theories, Clark's logo threes are filling arenas with fans who don't need a calculator to see what's happening, and that's the harsh reality Chicago doesn't want to face. Angel Reese is chasing hype. Caitlin Clark is making history. By now, the excuse machine has gone into overdrive, because when blaming the coach and inflating viewership doesn't stick, Chicago fans move on to the referees, claiming every whistle was biased, every call was a conspiracy, and every no call was the league's secret way of protecting Caitlin Clark. But let's be honest, nobody forced Angel Reese to miss free throws, nobody told her to choke in crunch time, and nobody scripted the moment when the game slipped away. That was all on her. Yet her supporters act like the universe itself lined up against her, dragging teammates, refs, coaches, and even broadcasters into the blame game. And it's almost comical, because while they're spinning wild theories, Caitlin Clark is simply doing what great players do, shutting up the noise with performance, delivering highlights that matter, and turning pressure moments into iconic ones. And the contrast couldn't be louder, because Reese is becoming the face of excuses, while Clark is becoming the face of results. And every time the two names get compared, that gap grows bigger, making it harder and harder for Angel's fan base to keep the illusion alive. At this point, the pattern is impossible to ignore, because every time Angel Reese struggles, the storyline plays out the exact same way. First it's the coach, then it's the system, then it's the refs, and finally it's the media, but never Angel herself. And fans treat her like a helpless pawn instead of a professional athlete with the ball in her hands and the chance to change the outcome, which only makes her look weaker, not stronger, because stars are supposed to rise in these moments, not be shielded from them. And while her supporters rewrite reality to protect her, Caitlin Clark is rewriting the record books in real time, taking a struggling franchise and turning it into the hottest ticket in sports, proving you don't need excuses when your game speaks louder than the noise. And that's the uncomfortable truth. Sky fans refuse to admit the more they defend Angel, the more obvious the gap between hype and reality becomes, and the more they inflate her value, the more Caitlin Clark makes her look like she's standing still in a league that's moving forward without her. When the noise fades and the excuses dry up, the truth is simple. Angel Reese is talented, she's marketable, she's a fighter on the glass, but in the biggest moments she hasn't proven she can deliver, and no amount of conspiracy theories, inflated viewership numbers, or finger pointing at coaches and refs is going to change that, because the scoreboard doesn't care about Twitter threads, and history won't remember double-doubles that end in losses. What it will remember are the players who stepped up when it mattered most. And right now, that's Caitlin Clark. She's the one packing arenas, breaking records, and dragging the league into the national spotlight with real performances. While Angel is left fighting not just her opponents, but her own narrative, and until she proves she can rise in the clutch without hiding behind excuses, she'll continue to be defined not by her stats, but by her stumbles. Not by her dominance, but by her defense squad. And that's the real story. One star is changing the game, the other is just trying to keep up.